The list is real. That is not a rumor. That is not a conspiracy theory. That's the report that we're hearing right now. And it's coming from inside the federal prison walls where Ghislaine Maxwell, this woman once ruled Epstein's secret world, is now signaling she's ready to talk to Congress, talk under oath, talk about the client list. But here's the real shocker here. Just hours after this broke, President Donald J. Trump stepped up to the podium and he made a chilling declaration. This could be the greatest scandal in 100 years. And he wasn't just talking about Epstein. He was actually talking about the Autopen scandal, about 4,245 pardons that may have been signed without the president's hand, pardons that could be connected to what Maxwell is threatening to reveal. And that's when everything changed, because today we're going to be diving deep into the scandal that could tear open the deepest secrets of elite power in America and around the world. I'm going to reveal how Joe Biden's last-minute clemency spree may have been more than political favoritism. It may have been an attempted cover-up of what's really on that list. Now, here's the question that's really going to divide the country by the end of today's video. Is Ghislaine Maxwell a last-minute truth teller or a manipulative insider playing her final card, trying to stay alive and get out of prison? Because if she talks, if this list comes out, if Trump is right, then what comes next could change everything that you thought you knew about power, politics, and the entire system itself. Now, of course, I'm going to expose what Maxwell is threatening to reveal, why Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino are locked in a civil war inside of Trump's movement, and how Biden's blanket pardons and Hunter's hand-signed deal may tie it all together. And yes, guys, we're also going to answer the question that everyone is afraid to say out loud. Was Epstein a spy? And did the U.S. government know? Well, okay. We're going to get down to all of this. If you guys appreciate the daily news updates, hit the like button and subscribe. This is not just about Maxwell or Trump. This is about what happens when truth finally claws its way back to the surface, no matter how many people try to bury this thing. So I want to go ahead and start with the news that's been whispered for years. And now it's finally breaking into daylight. This Epstein client list, it's real. Now, for the first time ever, Ghislaine Maxwell is threatening to release it under oath before Congress. Not in a book deal, not in some kind of a cryptic interview, but in an official congressional hearing, live on record. Anybody want to see this list? Now, for years, we were told it didn't exist. The media mocked it. The institutions denied it. Talking heads said it was internet fiction. But now, even they cannot ignore it. Maxwell, the last living gatekeeper of Epstein's empire, says that she has the names and she's ready to talk. And that raises a disturbing question. Why now? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell, an elite socialite, turning essentially a federal inmate, all of a sudden willing to blow the lid off of a network that could take down Hollywood royalty, DC power brokers, and possibly even foreign intelligence services? Well, that leads us to the next part that I really want to share with you, and a much harder question. So let's be honest. Is she really doing this for the victims, or is this a final move from somebody who was born into espionage, trained to manipulate, and now trying to escape a 20-year prison sentence? Because let's not forget, Maxwell is not just Epstein's ex. She's the daughter of Robert Maxwell, a man suspected of being a triple agent for the CIA, the KGB, and Mossad. She knows the intelligence game inside and out. She knows how leverage works. And now, after being denied a plea deal, she wants to appeal her sentence. And she's putting the client list on the table as her bargaining chip. Her lawyers argue that the original 2008 deal in Florida, which gave Epstein a slap on the wrist, should have protected her too. They say the government broke its promise by prosecuting her again. And so now she's threatening to sing like a canary if they don't reverse course. So here's the moral fork in the road for you, the viewer. Is Ghislaine Maxwell finally doing the right thing, or just simply doing what she's always done, protecting herself by trading secrets from the shadows? Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. Now, have you ever gotten that feeling that you're just paying too much for something? Like you feel it, but you can't really prove it. But you also maybe don't know how to fix it. Well, this is how Maxine Teller felt. Okay. So She had no clue her Medicare plan was overcharging her until Chapter. They saved her $1,000 a year, guys. And get this, imagine what you could do with that kind of savings. That's why I partnered with Chapter, because they treat people like family and they dig deeper than the rest. Give our friends a Chapter call right now. See how much money they can save you on your Medicare. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or hit the pinned comment down below. I left a link for you guys. You can go to askchapter.org/Ron and see what you have been missing. Now, the next part here is really where things get dangerous, because if Maxwell testifies, and I mean really testifies, she's not just naming names from a party guest list. She may be exposing an entire blackmail network, one that wasn't just tolerated by world governments, but allegedly built by them. So I want to talk facts here for a second. Her father, Robert Maxwell, died mysteriously after being accused of spying for Israel, the U.S., and Russia. Epstein's financial records were a complete mess, no clear source of wealth, no consistent business model, and yet he was living like a billionaire, flying politicians, royals, and CEOs to a private island rigged with surveillance equipment. The Daily Beast once reported that when Alex Acosta, the Florida prosecutor who let Epstein off in 2008, was asked why he went so easy on him, he allegedly responded, because Epstein was intelligence. He belonged to us. Interesting. So now that report was never confirmed, but it's out there. And Maxwell knows every piece of this puzzle. So here's what you, the viewer, need to decide right now. If this was not a state-sanctioned operation, then why has every institution fought so hard to keep it buried? Why did Epstein suddenly die in federal custody with no camera footage and no cellmate? Why has Ghislaine Maxwell, who knows where everybody is buried, been quiet so long? You gotta wonder, right? You gotta ask yourself. And most importantly, is this why President Trump just declared this is the biggest scandal in 100 years? Because let's talk about that. Because the moment President Trump broke his silence, this stopped being about Epstein, right? And so Trump took the mic and he plainly said this. He said this could be the biggest scandal in 100 years. And that's a direct quote from Trump. And he wasn't speculating. He was talking about something very specific, the Autopen scandal. During the final months of Joe Biden's presidency between October 1st, 2024 and Inauguration Day, Biden issued 4,245 clemency actions, almost all of them without ever picking up a pen. The White House now admits that Hunter Biden's pardon was the only one he personally signed. The rest signed by Autopen. No review, no paper trail, no presidential fingerprints. So the question is, what were they hiding? Now, here's where it all connects. Maxwell is threatening to release the list. Trump's team is investigating the pardons, and it appears that some of the very people Maxwell could name may have been preemptively protected with blanket pardons. This is why Trump's declaration matters. He's not just reacting emotionally. He's signaling that something strategic and sweeping is underway. And here is the twist. If Maxwell testifies and the names on the list match the names in those 4,000 pardons, then the American people are looking at a cover-up spanning 2 presidencies, multiple agencies, and global power players. And Trump, he's not backing down. He's not shielding the swamp. He's digging straight into it with the full weight of the executive branch now behind him. So now I want you to think about this. If Trump is making this move and Maxwell is threatening to blow it wide open, what did Pam Bondi mean when she said that the Epstein list was on her desk? And why did Pam Bondi later say she misspoke? Now, if you want my best updates, the ones they do not push here, they're always in my breaking news newsletter, and it's free as always. Click the pin. There's a link to my breaking news newsletter, totally free, in the pinned comment down below. So I want to rewind to Pam Bondi, Trump's special counsel. Just a few weeks ago, Pam Bondi confidently told reporters, many of you guys may remember, that Epstein client list was on her desk. Her exact words, not "we're searching," not "we think it exists," but on her desk. But then, like less than 72 hours later, she backtracked, claimed she misspoke. all of a sudden the list was maybe lost or still classified or not complete. That single walkback triggered a political earthquake. Dan Bongino, one of President Trump's most trusted media allies and a former Secret Service agent, threatened to resign from his advisory role if the documents were not released. Kash Patel, another Trump insider, publicly questioned why Bondi's story changed, especially after her initial certainty. And then the grassroots, the MAGA base, they exploded online, demanding answers. Was Bondi protecting someone? Was she under pressure from the intelligence community? Or was the list being leveraged behind the scenes? This leads to a question. A question that your audience literally has to answer. Do you believe that the list was buried on purpose, or that this list never existed in the first place? Because think about it. If it was real and Pam Bondi had it, that means somebody made the call to pull it back. And if it wasn't real, why did she say it was? And so now here's where it all connects legally, right? Because if Maxwell testifies, her appeal could shake the house of cards all the way to the ground. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence, but her legal team just made a move that could flip this whole thing upside down. They are now arguing that the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, the NPA, the same one that gave Epstein his sweetheart deal, also protected her. Their claim, she's being prosecuted twice for the same crime, double jeopardy. And guess what? The Trump DOJ has not exactly officially responded to that appeal until today. So the question now is the Trump administration strategically delaying because the appeal might unlock a classified intelligence storm? Or are they vetting every line to ensure Maxwell doesn't use the courtroom to manipulate justice again? Because here's the risk. If her appeal is denied without careful review, she might never testify. But if it's granted without precautions, she might derail the investigations that she's pretending to help. So this moment is surgical. One wrong move, and either the American people lose the truth or the movement loses its moral high ground. So this is why President Trump's team is being so precise. It's not cowardice, it's calculated courage. Now, this was not supposed to happen. Not inside the America First movement, not among Trump's most loyal warriors. But here we are, we're watching a collision unfold in real time between two powerhouse figures, Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. So let's break it down. Now, Bondi, Trump's special counsel, initially said she had the Epstein list. Now, that moment electrified the base. But after the walkback, Bongino snapped. I mean, he didn't just express concern. He went on air and threatened to resign from all public-facing Trump advisory roles unless the files were released in full. And he wasn't alone. Conservative influencers started taking sides. Some backed Bondi, calling for patience and caution. Others, like Kash Patel, demanded transparency right now. So what does Trump do? He praised both of them. He refused to throw anybody under the bus, but now the pressure is on. Does Trump protect Bondi and risk alienating millions of fired up supporters? Or does he remove her to protect the credibility of his entire movement? Now, I want to be clear, guys. This is not petty infighting. This is about who controls the truth and who gets to decide when the American people hear it. So drop a comment right now. Fire Bondi now, or she's protecting something bigger. We don't see the full picture yet. Because this next topic discussion that I want to share with you guys may actually make that judgment even harder. And under President Trump, Main Street is finally on the rise again, because this industrial revolution is not just a comeback. This is a reckoning. The farmer, the welder, the truck driver, tool maker, the forgotten American, the one who actually keeps this country running, they're getting a voice back. And speaking of getting their voice back, I'm about to lose mine. I'm just trying to get over something. Stick with me, guys. Pray for me, please. And while globalist CEOs panic in Davos, the message from the White House is clear. We're not outsourcing our future. We're building it right here at home. President Donald J. Trump, he's back in the White House, and America's real economy is finally coming back online. But behind the headlines, a brand new kind of digital infrastructure is rising. So while Biden, the bureaucrats, and the globalists tried to shut down our economy and our energy independence, one company found a way to turn America's forgotten gas fields into Bitcoin, AI, and computing power. A company that doesn't ask for permission, doesn't rely on foreign oil, and doesn't bend to Wall Street. If Trump's America First energy plan had a tech partner, this might just be it. Now, today's video is sponsored by AgriForce Growing Systems, traded on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol AGRI. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So let me ask you something. What's the #1 bottleneck for America's future? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not talent. It's not innovation. It's not even capital. It's energy, guys. President Trump, he understands this better than anybody. And so this is why he brought back drilling. He reopened gas leases and slammed the door on globalist green scams. And AgriForce, ticker symbol AGRI, they're putting that vision into action. They're converting stranded, wasted natural gas into mobile, off-grid digital infrastructure. And they're doing it fast, like efficiently and independently. No permits, no grid dependency, just results. In Alberta and Ohio, they're already running high-efficiency Bitcoin mining rigs and decentralized AI compute, all powered by gas that used to be flared into the sky and just lost forever. This is made possible through their partnership with Blue Flare Energy. Now, this is a leader in the gas to power innovation that helps AgriForce deploy fast, mobile, off-grid infrastructure where others just can't. So this is energy turned into value, waste turned into wealth. And this is just the beginning. President Trump's comeback isn't just about jobs and borders. It's about dominating the digital battlefield too. From AI to blockchain to sovereign data systems, the war for compute power is on. AgriForce's new division, TerraHash Digital, is answering that call. They're building mobile, modular Bitcoin AI campuses with vertically integrated control. Guys, they own their own land. They control the energy. They deploy the infrastructure. This means speed, security, total independence. And it's not just Bitcoin. Their sites are AI ready. They're optimized for edge computing, even designed to reuse heat for food production and industrial co-location. So while tech giants rely on fragile grids and ESG nonsense, TerraHash Digital is building real infrastructure with real power off-grid, off Wall Street, and on mission. Exactly the kind of bold innovation that would make President Trump proud. Now, get this, guys. I want to talk numbers real quick. AgriForce, they have already mined 7 Bitcoin to date, and they're just getting started. Their strategy, mine and hold, buy and hold. They keep up to 50% of all mined Bitcoin in their treasury, and they've committed to using 50% of capital raised to acquire even more Bitcoin. This is a digital reserve strategy backed by real American energy, not some fiat nonsense. And by Q1 of 2026, they aim to scale to 1 exahash per second of total compute. That's major league hash rate on par with some of the biggest mining firms in the US. But here is the kicker. They're not doing it without grid dependence. So that means fewer delays, fewer regulations, and more freedom to scale in President Trump's new economy. So I want to go ahead and repeat this key component here. They're doing it without grid dependence. This is huge. Almost no one else is doing this. And so here is the bottom line. AgriForce, ticker symbol AGRI, they're building the kind of energy-backed decentralization infrastructure that we need in a post-globalist America. They're tapping into what President Trump always said was the greatest advantage: our energy, our land, our independence. So if you believe in Bitcoin, AI, energy freedom, and the return of American greatness, this is a company that you should absolutely have on your radar. Now, once again, they trade under ticker symbol AGRI on the NASDAQ, and they are the official sponsor of today's video. Now, just to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not investment advice. Always do your own due diligence before investing in any company. But when a company is building off-grid compute with American energy while Trump's back in office, it definitely caught my attention. So smash the like button, drop energy wins in the comments, and stay tuned because you're going to love what's coming next. Now, so let's stop pretending that this is just about a list, okay? Because if Maxwell opens her mouth under oath, she won't just be naming a few rich degenerates. We're talking about politicians from both parties, billionaires and world leaders, Hollywood royalty, media moguls, former intelligence operatives. The rumor mill is overflowing, but if even a fraction of it is true, then what we're looking at here is not a scandal. It is a global exposure event. But here's what we know. Epstein's private island had surveillance in every room. There were allegedly thousands of hours of video still under review or missing. So multiple sources claim Promise software, a spyware tool originally developed for intelligence use, was installed to track and blackmail guests. And remember, Maxwell wasn't some passive assistant. She booked flights, scheduled meetings, sat in on the abuse. She knows where the cameras were. She knows who paid Epstein's bills. She knows what was traded for silence. So here's what you need to ask. Is she finally doing the right thing because she feels remorse, or is she dangling information as bait for a deal that she could cash in? Because if she really starts naming names under oath, what happens if one of them is believing? What happens if one of them is someone Biden quietly pardoned before leaving office? What happens if one of them is still sitting in Congress right now? This is not just a legal trial. It's a reckoning. So by now you've probably heard the number 4,245 clemency actions, right? Pushed through in just a few months by Joe Biden's administration. Let that sink in. Between October 1st, 2024 and January 20th, 2025, when the media was focused on debates, recounts, and chaos, Biden's team was quietly signing thousands of pardons and commutations, many with an Autopen. Now, let's get real, guys. How does one man, like 80-something years old, review over 4,000 cases in a few months and also have the ability, like with arthritis and whatnot, to be able to like sign all these things? Now, here's the kicker. The only pardon Biden reportedly signed in person was for his own son, Hunter Biden. So ask yourself, was Biden rushing to protect political allies, intelligence operatives, and maybe, just maybe, names on Maxwell's list before Trump returned to power? Well, the media dismissed this as routine clemency work, but nothing about it was routine. Not the timing, not the secrecy, not the volume. And now with Maxwell threatening to expose the full client list, you got to wonder, did those 4,245 pardons include blackmail protection, right? Did Biden use the Autopen as a shield for the elite, knowing Trump was on his way back? Now, viewers, guys, subscribers, this is your moment. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Was Biden cleaning house, or was he covering up a criminal empire? Because if Ghislaine speaks, we may finally get the names that were never meant to be spoken. Now, this is the part nobody wants to say out loud, but we have to. What if she doesn't make it? Jeffrey Epstein died in federal custody, a death labeled a suicide with missing camera footage, falsified logs, and guards who fell asleep, right? If Ghislaine Maxwell is truly preparing to testify before Congress, if she's ready to name names, if she's holding the keys to the biggest blackmail ring in modern history, do you really think that they'll let her live to say it? Even now, the rumor mill says she's under 24-hour watch, but also that the DOJ has been briefed on potential external threats, that the files that she might hand over are so explosive, the intelligence community wants them sealed indefinitely. And yet, President Trump is not blinking. He's pushing for transparency, he's demanding accountability, and he's publicly warning that this is the biggest scandal in 100 years. He knows what's at stake. If Ghislaine testifies, we could see new prosecutions, legacy media exposed, a final collapse of the corrupt elite class, but it all hinges on one terrifying question. Will she even make it to the hearing? Or will history repeat itself and silence her before the truth comes out? So President Trump isn't just reacting to the scandal. He's orchestrating a full-scale patriotic response with strategy, restraint, and a deep respect for truth. But let's be crystal clear, guys. He didn't pardon elites. He didn't bury evidence. He's not hiding from the fallout. Instead, Trump is threading the needle between full exposure and national security. Because let's face it, if even half of what Ghislaine Maxwell threatens to reveal is true, we're talking about the biggest political and intelligence firestorm since Watergate and maybe ever. And yet, Trump's message is not revenge, it's restoration. He's showing compassion for the victims, demanding justice for the American people, and refusing to let this administration be used as a tool for elite cover-ups. He's holding Bondi close, but watching very carefully. He's listening to Bongino's warnings without fracturing the movement, and he's empowering his DOJ to do what Biden's never dared, actually pursue justice without fear of who gets named. Now, this is not about politics and political points. This is about protecting America from the rot that festered in the silence, while the swamp thought that they would never be caught. And Trump, well, he's not just draining it, he's disinfecting it with some sunlight. So now it's on you. Because this story right here, guys, the real story is not just about Epstein or Maxwell or Hunter or the client list. It's about truth versus power. It's about who we protect and who we pretend never existed. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is moving to testify. She's either a hero ready to break decades of silence, or she's a manipulator trained by spies using her final card to walk free. And Trump, he's not backing down. This could be the greatest scandal in 100 years. And so here's the question. Should Congress let her speak immediately, or is this a trap? I want you to drop your thoughts down below. Let her testify live on camera, or let me know or comment she's gaming the system just like Epstein did, because history's watching, and you're no longer just an observer, guys. Let's be honest. You're a witness at this point. You're a part of the reckoning. And what comes next? Well, yeah, you're going to have to subscribe and join my breaking news newsletter to see that one. Like, comment, share. And if you believe that the list is real, then stay loud, because silence is how they win.